Hi everyone, this is the third episode of the third season of the Padel Podcast, and I had a really amazing guest with me. But before I introduce her, I wanted to say that I'm launching my, I already sort of launched my YouTube channel on YouTube. Where else? But yeah, I just thought that it would be actually quite interesting for you to see, not my background, because you don't really care about what's behind me. It's just more about my guests, and they do. I mean, obviously, a lot of them have different places where they appear, and even more so this week, I had Bojana Jovanovic with me, who's it's hard to really introduce her, but I still will try. If you haven't checked her out on Instagram and TikTok and all her channels, please do, because she's absolutely amazing. She is an ex-tennis player. She was second. She was the second best player in Serbia, where obviously tennis is massive with Novak, and we know the drill. So yeah, she was. She was playing tennis up until pretty much a year ago, where she decided that padel gives her a lot more joy, and she absolutely loves padel, and she's really trying to make it now in padel. She has a plan on getting into the top 150 on the FIP rankings within a year and a half, and she has a Romanian partner, and she's also really great player, and they decided that that's what they want to do. They're training together in Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and it was a great privilege to have her on the show. She is unbelievable. We really focused on a lot of different things, for example, mental health, and how she ended up, her friendship with Novak and Stef Bojic, and how she ended up on the world of Instagram and TikTok. And please do check it out. She's unbelievable. But as just a bit of a news as well, I told you about the YouTube channel, which I'm trying to now really focus on as well. Please, if you haven't given me a like or a follow on Instagram as the Padel Podcast, on LinkedIn, or on YouTube, please do so, because I've got big plans for this year. Massive shout out to Federico Di Giovanni and Contra Padel. We've got amazing, even I cannot really talk about it. We've got amazing things coming up with him, and also just wanted to give a shout out to Fran and the Padel Company. The Padel Podcast, I don't really need to give a shout out because you're here and you're watching this. So yes, and also obviously if you want to just follow it on as you used to, just on the audio, you can do so on Spotify and Apple Music and Podbean. So, and also all the other platforms. So yeah, thank you very much for being here. Please stay, and if you haven't reached out, and if you have anyone who you would like me to cover and who I would have on the show, please reach out. I'm fairly reachable on different places. So yeah, thank you very much, and take care. Hi everyone, this is the third episode of the third season of the Padel Podcast, and I have an amazing guest with me. I was saying a little bit about it, that I'm going to have an amazing guest with me, and I've got Bojana Jovanovic with me, and I can pronounce your name correctly. I don't think a lot of people can in the Western world pronounce your name
Actually, you did right. It's Bojana. Because
Bojana,
usually
okay.
they think it's Bojana because of G, but it's Bojana Jovanovic.
Yeah, and also with the C at the end with the accent, it's obviously it's a ch rather than a C or whatever, K, or how the English people would pronounce it. But thank you very much for accepting my invite. I have been obviously trying to get you on the podcast since you were converted from tennis to padel, but I know that we're going to talk about tennis a lot as well, because all the listeners know that I'm a massive tennis fan, and I still follow it. You just posted a video with Novak this week as well. So, we have to talk about the GOAT. We have to talk about Stef Bojic. We have to talk about how Bojana Jovanovic actually became like a viral sensation, because you are. And I remember when I first seen a few of your videos, you were just like starting off with Steph, if I'm not mistaken. Like you were helping him out bits and bobs, and I was like, oh, who's this pretty girl? I mean, she can hit a ball as well, like you know how it is. And then all of a sudden you were just in paddle, and I'm like, oh, come on the pod. How are you? How are you, Bojana?
Yeah, it's like so many um things that come. I would say like people maybe it looks like from nowhere. But yeah, in tennis I've been like for more than now 15, 16 years. It's like a long journey and it's really big part of my life and made me who I am. And yeah, with Steph we met I think first time now it's already I think 3 or 4 years ago, something like that. And it was really spontaneous because me I would say that's beginning of 2020, the 2022 actually, that I started like posting more on my social medias on Instagram. And I had at that moment I think maybe 5 or 6 thousand followers, something like that. And I always wanted like to be more involved in like social media and let's say like more public life in that way, but I didn't know how I want, because for me it's really I need to have like reason why I'm doing something, in everything. So because I got injured on 2020, and that's why I actually stopped with like tournaments in tennis. I was second best player on 2020 in Serbia, and that year I got a lot of offers from sponsors and everything. And unfortunately, I got injured my left wrist, and it was really like bad injury. Luckily, I didn't do the surgery, but still, like recovery was like for 2 years. And then beginning of 2022, I with my coach we agreed that we'll like record a little bit more our like practices in that moment and maybe some matches. And I started posting, and then like one or two of the videos where I was like serving or doing like some forehands, I think, got really viral, and all of the big platforms as Tennis Legend, Functional Tennis, Tennis Baseline, like they shared my videos like everywhere on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and it got really viral. It have like I think one of those videos had like almost 50 million views, something like that. So it was like from nowhere. And yeah, that's how Steph saw my videos, and Janko and Novak, because I was practicing in Belgrade in Gemax. That's the club actually where I was also recording with Novak previous days. And then Steph contacted me through Instagram if I want to share, because behind on the wall was name of the academy, Tipsarevic. And Janko was wondering how it's possible that they don't know me if I'm training in their like academy and stuff. So that's how Steph contacted me through Instagram, and we met there. And then we decided to also record some tricks, and that's how we met. And then after that, we become friends, and now we also like record sometimes together and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I think Steph is a really interesting person because he's a trick shot maker, and he's absolutely unbelievable. So if you haven't checked him out, please check him out on Instagram, because what he does with the tennis
Yeah.
balls. Look, I've been playing tennis since I was 4 years old, but I mean all the training and all the practices and whatever he does, it's absolutely unreal. So I don't know how he does it. Like, all of it. Like, even there was a video a couple of days ago. I don't know if you've seen it. Mahach and Rude were playing left-handed, and whenever, I don't know, like obviously you hit a double-handed backhand, so your left hand is a lot, but I hit a one-handed backhand, so for me my left hand is absolutely ridiculously bad. But when you see Mahach and Rude practice with their left hand, I mean, that was pretty questionable as well. And Zverev, no, sorry, it was Steph and Alcaraz. They played the left-handed point as well. So it's just,
Yeah.
what I'm just trying to get to is that one thing is that how you can play with your right hand, with the normal shots, a forehand, the backhand, the volley, all that. But Steph Boyic, I mean, can
Yeah.
actually hit with the handle of his racket, and he can, like, it's absolutely insane. Before
Yeah.
we get into tennis that much, while this is a Padel podcast, the first question, which I always tend to ask now, obviously we're like 10 minutes into the chat, but we
Yeah.
do that. Like when we had a chat this week, I gave you a call and we were chatting for like 50 minutes about like anything and everything. So I knew that this is going to be a long one. So obviously buckle up your belts because this we're going to be chatting to Bojana for quite a bit. So how did you get into Padel?
That's really like funny and interesting story. So, and it's connected with what I started with Steph. So when we recorded first time in Gemax, he mentioned me that Janko, he also have academies, actually working with luxury resorts all around the world, like mostly with on Maldives. And he mentioned me in that moment. For me, I still couldn't compete because I still was like a little bit struggling with the injury. And to be honest, like in that moment, mentally, I was a little bit overwhelmed with all the things that happened, and I didn't have that much desire to come back to competitions. And he connected me with Janko. We actually had like 1 or 2 meetings. He introduced me like the whole idea of me like going as a coach on the Maldives as a tennis coach, and I was like, yeah, why not? Let's give it a try, because I always love to try something new. I love traveling, so I was like, it's a good opportunity for me to. And actually, that year I really wanted to move from Serbia to try to live somewhere else for a longer time. I was obviously traveling before that, but not for longer, like few months. So I went to Maldives and I was working there for 3.5 months, something like that. And a few days before I arrived there, they told me that I will probably coach also for padel. And at that moment, I never heard for that sport. They explained it's a racket sport, that it's not that like hard to start, for the beginners, and everything was like, okay, I will figure out. So I started watching some like YouTube videos. When I come there, I went on the court, tried a little bit to check the rackets, the balls, and how the whole court look like. So that's how it was like my first connection with paddle, and I really liked it at that moment. Obviously, I was at really beginner's level, and I was playing mostly tennis on the paddle court. And when I came back to Serbia on 2022, that was during the summer. That year actually started in Serbia with like first clubs, and people got like really fast, like hooked and addicted to this sport. Um, but me at that moment, I still wanted to come back to tennis, and also I got some offers for help with some companies and brands, and I was training really hard for tennis still, but just something wasn't right. Like for me was, I would say, last few years really a battle in my head what to do. I really like the paddle. I like the feeling that I have on that court. I was feeling so free and without pressure, and so happy. Like of course in tennis I was as well, but it was just so many things that was happening last few years with that injury, with also like some situations with the not really good coaches that I had in my career. And it was constantly, I would say, pressure, and more in my head was also expectations for other people, because I also started with social media already in that moment, and so many people was like seeing that I'm playing good, that I'm in good shape, but it's constantly, why you're not competing, why you're not competing. And in my head was just like too many things. And then last year, I would say during the summer, maybe August, something like that, I made a cut. I was like, I don't want to let other people shape my life and tell me what I can or what I can do. And I really believe that we decide what we want to do, and there is no how to say, why we just need to have like one career, why we cannot try different sports, why we can not study different kind of things. Like, I really believe I have capacity for that, and I want to enjoy and I want to try different things in life. I'm really always curious about new things, and of course you need to dedicate yourself. Sometimes you cannot do like 50 things in the same time. So I said to myself, I want to give it a try, and I decided I will always be involved in tennis. But now, when it comes professional part, I decided fully to dedicate myself to padel. And this January, I was also in Netherlands in one academy. maybe you know, like Sven Otronivel. Most of the people know him like that. So he's my coach now, and I was there for 1 month of preseason. And actually, now in the beginning of March, I'm coming back to Netherlands, and I will have my first FIP tournament there. I'm super excited about that. And I will play with Alice. That's the girl from Romania. So we will be actually like first Balkan couple that want to interfere a little bit between like Spanish and Argentinian girls because they're
Yeah.
obviously like leading for many years.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to come back to. First of all, I wanted to talk about a little bit about Janko Tipsarevic because he was one of my idols. I used to wear glasses, and I
Really?
remember, yeah. I used to wear glasses, and I had the Janko Tipsarevic white Oakleys, and and he was like, if you see someone who has an amazing morale, and he wasn't really gifted in terms of he's not a really tall player. He doesn't have a massive serve. He doesn't have a massive forehand, backhand. He's just a really, really hard worker. And now I obviously follow him. He's a role model for a lot of us, and I've seen him live in 2011 in the O2 in London, when he was actually playing in the like the season-ending world champs or whatever that is, like the Masters final.
Mhm.
And he's such an unbelievable character that it's great that he sort of had a massive part of you joining paddle. It's just a great thing to do. And the other thing which I wanted to talk about is, I had the same sort of transition. I was competing, nothing your level, but I was competing in Hungary as well. And I became a two-time national champion in doubles, in the amateurs. So it's not like professional. But I remember I was always better in doubles, by the way, in tennis somehow as well. And it was so liberating when I found out that paddle in itself is so easy, like, to fall in love with. It's you don't have the pressure of tennis, in many ways. You have a partner, you have a smaller court. Obviously, you can, like, unfortunately, I'm a notorious racket breaker, so I have quite a few rackets which I demolished in tennis. Not so much in paddle. It's a lot harder to break a paddle racket if anyone tried that. But it is really interesting to actually see on you were the second best player in Serbia, and Serbia is a tennis nation. So it's not like you're from, I don't know, like, I don't know, Kazakhstan or something, where, I mean, that's not that good of an example as well, with all the Kazakh players like Bublik and all those guys. But Serbia is massively into tennis, and to actually decide that, yes, I'm gonna try a different sport. I'm gonna try to make it in a different sport. At first, I thought that it's not as demanding for the body, but when you see these gladiators on the paddle court nowadays, it changed massively as well. Because, like, since, I think with Bella,
Yeah.
mostly when Bella came along, he was like this amazing fit guy who could run around the court for ages. And obviously, while we're speaking, we have the women's semifinals of the first Premier Paddle in Riyadh. And I mean, not at the moment because there's a rain interruption, which is absolutely
Yeah,
ridiculous in
I
the
heard
Middle
about,
East.
yeah,
It's just crazy. My really good friend and brother from another mother, Federico, is there, and they just cannot
like,
see, like, they just cannot finish it. So I don't know. It's a Sunday morning. They still cannot get on the court. I don't know how they will finish. So it's absolutely mental. But yeah, it's the next thing which I wanted to ask is obviously your sports background, and what is your proudest moment on a tennis court? Because obviously you must have had many. I guess you played internationally as well. Could you, like, did you play in like a junior Grand Slam? Could you actually make it that far, or how did your career in tennis go?
yeah, no, I didn't play like that many like juniors, I would say, tournament internationally. First of all, like it's really hard when you're like from Serbia and you have like Novak. Then like all your, I would say, achievements are looking really small. I've never had like points on WAT like list. Unfortunately, that year when I planned to start, it's the injury when happened. But we have also like a lot of other really amazing players in men and females, and when like you hear they're like in top, I don't know, like 100, like now Olga what it's making, and other players, when you compare to Novak's, like for most of people, like, they're just in like two, like maybe top 200 or something. But like being in something in top 200, it's like blow mine, it's unbelievable achievement. But yeah, for me, I started with tennis when I was 10. And before that, I tried like also every single sport. Like first 1 year, I was also training in the same time tennis and volleyball. And for me, what's also make, I mentioned to you a little bit about that when we had a first call. I started really late with tennis because I had like really serious health problems when I was kid. When I was 6, my parents, obviously in that moment I wasn't aware of that. We found out that I had cancer. So they removed me one kidney and the spleen. That was on 2004 when we found out first time, and when I had like first operation. And then in 2025, the during the April, the disease came back. So that's when they removed all of that, and I had like several chemotherapies and stuff. So that's really part of my life that shaped me. And for me, the biggest challenge was when I was coming back to actually to school in the middle school. I've been through a lot of like bullying and physically and mentally because I lost completely my hair. Like it was, I would say, disaster, but in that moment. But now I really see why all of these things happened. And to be honest, before I was really scared, and I never thought that I will talk openly about those things because first I didn't want people to feel sorry for me telling that, and also I was scared. I was it like my whole childhood I was feeling different because of that, and I didn't like it. But now I really cherish all of these moments, because it's really give me much more strength to push through life. So that's why I actually like started really late with tennis. And it was really, I started with couple of my friends from school in some like club near the school, and it was just for fun at the beginning. And especially because doctors was telling to me that I will never play professional sport. That is good to play because of the health a little bit, but never on that level that I was like playing my whole life and that I'm planning to continue. So I started just really for fun, and I think for me it wasn't like Novak. He know it from the beginning. I'm giving now an example that he wants to do that for his whole life. Me was like gradually I was falling in love with this sport, and especially in the beginning. Now when I was like analyzing a lot, I think for me was tennis a little bit escape because I wanted to be alone. I didn't want to be that much in the group, in the collective, sport and with the kids and stuff. I just wanted to be alone, and tennis give me that to be alone. And so maybe all of these things, when now I see in my head connected, last few years in tennis also make me a little bit anxiety, about all of these things. And also the coaches that I had in the beginning, unfortunately, wasn't that good. It was too much pressure, and also they put me when I was 12 or 13. I started playing tournaments like to the category of 18. So I was playing good, but still, like, I was like really a small girl comparing to the girls that have like 16, 17, 18. So I was like losing a lot of like good matches, but always like losing. And then I had the situation that was happening in the school, and then still on the court, it was similar, and I lost completely my confidence those years. And for me, it was also strange because when I was really young in kindergarten, I was super hyperactive kid and with full confidence and everything. And then with this, like what happened with the cancer and everything, it just like I lost completely. I was on the zero. And then I really needed during the years to rebuild and to trying to find who I am. And I think that's still in process. And my whole life, I will. I think we always have the periods where we are changing with like during the whole life. So yeah, that's when I would say like I started with tennis. But I would say when I was 18, 19, my actually last tennis coach, Goran Aleksic, he made the biggest change in my career. We was working for 6 years, I would say like something like that, and he really gave me again the desire to compete again. And we changed completely my game because when I was 18, 19, I was changing some technical things. Like I had like really bad grip on my forehand, backhand. That's why actually I got injured and stuff. So it was so many I would say little details that make not good for the end. But I don't know. Also, I think that was 2020, something like that, the beginning of Corona as well. We also got the offer, my coach and I, to go to China in one academy where he will be as a main coach. And they got me the offer for me that I can be his assistant, but also like training for myself and competing. But then all these things with Corona happened, so we didn't get the visa and everything. And I was like so sad about that because a lot of people don't know about the tennis. It's really expensive sport. My family always was my support in everything, and they gave me as much as they could. But like for professional, like really level, you need a lot of money, like a lot of money. You're covering your coaches, your travelings. When your coach is traveling with you, you need to cover everything for him. That's a lot of people don't know. They said like, oh, you go to tournament, win the tournament. If it's like that, everyone will be, first. And even when you have money, that's not a guarantee that you will obviously win and everything. So it was a lot of, I would say, struggles in that way. It's now maybe sounds like too negative, but it's reality, and I'm like really okay with that. I know that I give everything that I could for my tennis, and for me also, I thought that I need to be in tennis my whole life, but I really believe that we need when we need to struggle that much, that's not meant for us. Of course you need to put like hard work and dedication and consistency in something, but I really believe it's when something it's really meant for us that the door will open a little bit easier, because for me I was like sort of struggling really so much for tennis, to for trainings, for competition. Always was something when I think it's now good, it's starting, something happened, or I got injured, or I didn't have money in that moment, or something, you know. And now when I'm in paddle, first community that you have here, it's like, unfortunately I need to say, it's much more open than in tennis. People want to help much more. Me, in last these 3-4 months that I really started with more professional trainings, so many players, coaches like around the world contacted me, supporting me, giving me advices, what to do, inviting me to come to train with them, that for these 16 years in tennis I never experienced. It's really insane. Maybe because it's new sport, but it's also not new because this sport exists like more than 50-60 years. But community, it's much more supportive. You can see also on the ending of the matches how the girls and men's, when they're on the net, when they finish the match, how they congratulate each other. And on the tennis, especially sometimes with the girls, can be really not nice, and I don't like that, so it's really different.
Wow.
A little bit
Again,
longer,
no,
explanation,
no,
but
no.
yeah.
Look, Bojana. When I don't have to ask questions, it's even better for me. So don't worry about it. No, it's. So first of all, thank you very much for sharing your journey. I have mentioned it to you when we had the call previously that I lost my father through cancer. So obviously, everyone lost someone in their family through cancer, so it's absolutely horrific. And to face it when you're that young, unbelievable. Look, what I just wanted to say is that it's still I struggle to believe that people like kids are so mean. It's just so bad. Like nowadays, I think it is changing, but kids will be kids. And that's just so bad that you came back from the fight of your life, and they're not appreciating you coming back. They're bullying you. It's absolutely horrific. And
Yeah,
I
but
think
to be honest, sorry to cut you, but in that moment, I was really thinking why this happening to me. I really didn't want in that moment to hang out with any of the kids. I was feeling really alone. I had luck that I always had support of my parents and my older brother even. But from this perspective, I really don't have like any kind of like anger, emotion or
I
anything
can
to
see
those
that.
kids because it's that's not them, they're also I really believe that that's coming from family, and all these kids also was been through something, maybe I also don't know. And I really always trying to see good in people. And I, I I really don't have like any bad emotion to those kids, because for some of them I also know that they was like coming from the worst families, that the parents was not really behaving good to them, and also the school system, they also didn't know what was happening to me. And I think that's also a big part that school needs to be involved more. And I know how much my parents spent time with me and my brother and invested. Of course, they was like working their whole life. They are working also today, but every free moment they wanted to spend with me and my brother, not by buying us some things. We always also have like everything, but that's not the things that I remember. I remember like every moment that they was like physically with us present. And nowadays I think a lot of parents, I'm not saying for everyone, but a lot of them like buying the kids new phones, new stuff just to show the love. But that's what I see. It's not love. And that's why I really don't have any kind of this bad emotions to those kids. And for me, also one of the reasons why I decided to share my story is I want to give as much as possible that support and that motivation that I got from my family, because I really know that a lot of not just kids but people generally, they don't have that. And for me now, also in my family was also always talking about mental health. My father, it's last 2 years a mental coach. He's working with athletes as well. So for me now it's normal thinking and talking about these things. But a lot of people is like closed and they don't know. They maybe research some on the internet stuff, and maybe they don't have like good environment and friends, and then they go in different and not really good direction. And for me also, when I was in middle school, to be honest, I was also scared to talk. I didn't share everything with my parents, not because I was scared how they will react to me and stuff, but I don't know, it was just fear. You never know, like every person or kid will react differently. And for some it's normal just to share and feel like more, but for some they will keep everything inside. But I really think when we keep things inside, then some illnesses can happen and stuff. We always need to have at least one person that we can share, like our emotions, our fears, whatever. So I really, for me, one of the goals and desires is through my platforms, or I have like so many ideas that I want to give and to be support as much as possible to the kids and to the people.
I want to say if I can help, obviously, anyway, I'm more than happy to cooperate on some sort of thing, because we also mentioned that as well. And my last guest, who's a really good friend of mine from Villaverde, he was saying that he's a massive advocate for mental health, and we said that on the pre-call as well, that we're going to talk about mental health, because I think it's such an important topic, and even more so in like Middle Europe and Southern Europe, where you mentioned the Balkans, and like we have those mentality, like Hungarians and Serbians alike, that we just shrug it off and we don't talk about it because you're not man enough, you're not woman enough to deal with those things. Like just just shake it off. Like why are you talking about it? Why do you say that you're struggling? It just it's not a real problem. It's in your head. Like come on, just shake it off. And I think it's such a bad mentality, and I really wanted to bring it up. And since I've been living in the UK for more than 7 years now, it is different here, and obviously in the Western world. And I think the solution is somewhere in the middle. And I think it's really important to bring it up. It's an amazing work what your dad is doing. We spoke about it, that it's so important to talk about mental health and how mental health is affecting everyone. And if you look at Novak, he is the loveliest guy off court. I want to ask you about him actually, on how he is as a person, because you obviously have a little bit of a better insight than 99.9% of the world population. But also he's really angry on court. But that's how he actually unleashes all his demons, and he's feeding from all the energy of the crowd. And even if it's a negative energy, he still feeds from it, even more so, some might say.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting how people deal with pressure, and I think it, like, if you can be smiling, and you're such a lovely individual. Now we just like spoke for literally, we just know each other for a week, but it's so amazing how positive you are, and all the things you went through. It's just a miracle that you're so positive. And one more thing which I wanted to say about all this mental health, and also the hard work and the luck. I have this saying that I think you will be lucky if you work as hard as anyone. That's the thing in your certain environment. And I think lastly about tennis, tennis is the hardest sport to play, to finance, to travel. You're alone. If someone is wondering about how hard tennis is, read Agassi's book. Yeah. He's a 9-time Grand Slam champion. He's one of the goats of our sport. And he starts his book as he hates tennis. That's his first line. And in the meantime, he absolutely loves it, right? Now he's a pickleball maniac, I have to say as well. Like, come on, Andre, just get on the paddle court rather. Yeah. But no, jokes aside, I think you had that joke as well. In Amsterdam, obviously, about like pickleball, and we have that sort of healthy dig to each other. I think pickleball players will always say that it's a lot better than paddle. Paddle players, we know that it's a lot better than pickleball. So that's how it is. But yeah, I think just to close this thought process off, I think it's amazing what you've achieved. And I always give kudos to the ones who I believe deserve it, and you 100% deserve it. Look, I think you chose one of the hardest sports to compete in now after tennis, I have to say, because I think we are competing with people who started, like I started tennis when I was 4. If I started paddle when I was 4, I would be pretty good, I assume. And if you look at all the Spanish players and Argentinian players, they started them when they were kids. And that's why the junior program in different countries need to be stepped up. And we talk about it a lot, that I think the juniors really, really need to get on a paddle court. We need to get proper coaching. We need to do this and we need to do that, because otherwise, if that happens, there was a really good example. I don't know if you're following the Premier Paddle, we can talk about that as well. The Deus brothers from Portugal, they just made the second round of the Premier Paddle. They qualified to the main draw, and they won a match on the main draw as a whole Portuguese pairing. And that's just unbelievable. That's just, it's not a first, but it is something to really, really look out for. And you can actually see their evolving play. How they actually play is just unreal. They do all the right things, and obviously they still need to be on the court for another couple of years before they can actually compete with the Spanish and the Argentinians in general, some Brazilians. But Italy and Portugal are now really, really making waves, which is great to see.
Yeah.
It's just how it is. Okay, so like the last question about tennis, and then we can move on to paddle solely. How is Novak? How did you came across him? Can you call him your friend? I know you must be getting this question a lot of times, but I think he's undisputedly the best tennis player ever to walk this earth. I think that's not a question anymore. It doesn't matter if he's gonna get his 25th. Um, I think if anyone, then he can do it. But it's going to be tough with Sinner. I mean, we're not going to talk about Sinner and what happened yesterday, because that's if someone wants to know what happened, go check out Andy Roddick's podcast, Served, because it's just unbelievable. It's my favorite podcast, and they talk about it with John Wertheim. But yeah, tell me about Novak.
Yeah, it's for me, first of all, like it's no doubt that like what he did in his tennis career, but for me, I really respect him first of all as a person. And how we met, that was actually, I think, yeah, before I went to the Maldives, he was training with Victor Troitsky in Gamax, in this club where I like usually was training during the winter, and where I came to the court to ask them, like, just to make the picture. It was after my practice, and when he told me that he already, I was like introducing myself, and they already saw also my videos on Instagram, because it was in that moment happening, all that like going viral and everything. So that's how we met. Like first time we made the picture and stuff, and he also know my tennis coach, Goran. And that moment, like he knows Novak when he was like really young, and they talked a little bit, and Novak hear about also my story from him. Just like it was really spontaneous. I wasn't there at all. And after that, whenever I saw Novak, because I was also practicing yoga in the club where Novak had in Belgrade before, and whenever I see him, he will always come to ask me how I am, and he really shared with me some of his like personal parts of his life and career, and like to give me support, and I would say a little bit what to do and stuff. So it's really helps me a lot. And for me, first of all, he's such a big name in every possible way, but still he's the same and humble. That's like for me unbelievable thing. He always tried to have patience for everyone, and like on daily basis, like so many people like asking him and for everything, but he always tried to have like patience. And the other thing I really respect, when he believes in something and he sticks to that. He's not like changing because of I don't know how to say now, to not go too deep some things, but because of opinion, I would say, of like bigger community or some stuff, if you understand me what I mean. He sticks to his belief, not like asking for others to believe the same, but he's just want to have the freedom to believe in what he thinks is the best for him, for his family, for his career. And all these things that he was like talking about, like mental spirituality, like many years ago, now people say, oh, maybe that's have sense now, you know. And he's like really like encyclopedia, you know. He knows like so many things about like health, about education generally. And especially, you mentioned before, we from the Balkan, especially from Serbia, we've been through a lot in history that many people don't know. And we get used to, like, I would say, to struggle, you know, and we get used to tough situations in our life. And that give us like that mentality of fighter. Like, and that Novak is showing on the court. A lot of people don't approve what he's doing sometimes on the court. Me either. I also don't like when he sometimes yell to his box and stuff. But no one is perfect, you know. And I know that he's working a lot about those things as well. But no one will ever be perfect, and that's why we are humans, you know. And we shouldn't be perfect, you know. So yeah, that's how it's like started when I met him and everything. And I can say that really he's kind of my friend. Not that I like talk with him like every day, not in that way, but I always know that I have his support, and we recorded this like a few days ago. He was here before Doha, Qatar, like training in Yamax as well. And we met there, like to I say hello and stuff, and then we went after his practice to record some his game, how people love on the internet to call it. And he really like follow what I do and really supporting me in my paddle journey now. And actually, he tried paddle many years ago because his brother Marco, or younger or older brother. I think he was, and Charlie as well. They're doing paddle like many years ago, so he loves paddle so much, and he's aware that paddle, especially for the beginners, comparing to tennis, it's much easier to start, and it's more fun. You for tennis, you need really months of trainings with the coach and stuff to start playing something. On paddle, people that maybe never do any sport, they can come to paddle and they will already play some game, let's say like that. So he's also aware of those things, and he really support me in that and said that I really make a smart move, especially because for me, I want to affect also the community of paddle here in Serbia and to put on the higher level, because for the girls we still don't have that much girls that want to compete. It's like really on amateur level. For the boys, we have better players and few of them that want also to try to go like professionally. But still, we need like professional coaches. That's usually like tennis coaches converting now to paddle. They are educating a lot. We already have like so many amazing clubs and facilities. I was also posting a lot about that, and people are really investing a lot. But still, it's like 2-3 years we have this sport in our country, and also like in other countries around us. It's still new, so I really want to help to make a bigger community and to put like paddle on the next level from the professional side, but also to, I would say, to bring people if they want to just play recreational. It doesn't need you always to go professionally in sport, but I think it's really good. Looks like you don't run that much because it's small court, but I think it's really good cardio. You use your whole body. You have like maybe shorter like movements, like runnings, but still you're using like your whole body, and with rotations, and especially when you get used to with the glass. For me now, it's like starting to be even more fun because I finally started using the glass, and it's just amazing.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I cannot agree more. About Novak, just the last thing.
yeah.
I think, yeah, look, you are from a war-torn country. That's what not a lot of people realize. Obviously, you are neighboring Hungary, so we do know a lot about Serbia. Large parts of Serbia used to be like Hungary as well, or like the monarchy. Actually, yesterday, Laszlo Győre Laszlo, as we would call him, he was playing the semis in Argentina in an ATP 250. And he's such a lovely guy. He speaks perfect Hungarian. Obviously, he has a Hungarian name, although with the D and J, it is a Serbian name of spelling his name, because in Hungarian it would be totally different.
Uh-huh.
But he calls himself Serbian. He always has. So even that his name is absolutely Hungarian, and he speaks flawless Hungarian. He said that he grew up. All his coaches were Serbian, and he considers himself Serbian. But it's just a really great generation which grew up with Novak, Viktor Troicki. Obviously, we talked about Janko Tipsarevic. All those guys, Zimonjic, who's obviously a little bit more like he's on the older side. But all these players are absolutely amazing. And look, they must have had an amazing effect on you. I mean, we've been talking about like almost 50 minutes and we hardly spoke about paddle. So it's great. You have to
Yeah,
come back on the pod as well.
why not? I'm always for it.
But before I really let you go, because I don't want to be that long, and I know that it's a Sunday when we're chatting as well, so I don't like, we I hope you have better things to do than to be on my podcast on a Sunday. So
Today is just relaxation.
good, 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 good. Tell me about your plans. I know that your plan is to get into the 150 in the FIP rankings, which is a massive, massive thing. Um, Tell me about how you want to achieve it, about your sponsors, what you're finding with paddle, which is which I mean, you already spoke about why you enjoy paddle that much more, but is it the novelty? Is it that it's new? Is it that it might be easier to get to a certain level? Um, is it that every day you get on court and you just feel better a little bit, just 1%, half a percent better? What makes paddle for you something? Is it a business decision that you want to go to paddle? What it is behind it, and tell me about your sponsors as well, if you have any in paddle.
Yeah, I would say first of all, the biggest difference now comparing to when I was in tennis professionally is my mental. Definitely, I'm in a different place now. First of all, I'm not putting that much pressure on myself now. Of course, I have like really huge goals and wishes for padel, but I really go now day by day, and I want to feel to see how I will feel in every segment of it. Um, that was a little bit of my fear to don't start feeling the same as I did in tennis, but I'm sure that I will not, because I work like last, I would say 4 or 5 years really a lot with my mentors and stuff about my mental preparation, mental health. For me that's really important and kind of my hobby as well. I really love psychology. um, so that's like the biggest difference I would say now, and I really want to go like step by step. When it comes to like now tournaments, and yeah, our goal now it's in next 2 years to come in top 150 in FIP rankings, and I really believe it's possible. And also, yeah, I think it's a little bit easier still comparing to tennis, because it's a little bit smaller community. But then from the other side, you have like I would say nations that are like 50, 60 years already in this sport. So you need to compete with that as well. But at the same time, I think the paddle will change. I think it's becoming also a faster game than before, with all only like Spanish, Argentinian players now. A lot of tennis players like switching to paddle, as well as you mentioned about brothers. How are you pronouncing?
Deus
Deus.
brothers, yeah, yeah.
When I actually posted like a couple of weeks ago about why I transitioned actually to paddle and everything, Nuno, he's also been like tennis player before, and he switched to paddle as well. And actually, for him was the same. He felt much more joy and happiness on the paddle court. And for me, I really enjoy having one more person by my side as well. And I will never, even if my partner make like the biggest mistake, I will never be like, oh, why you did that and stuff. I will be always like, come on, let's go next one. Never like, I will not make like any kind of like bad expression. And for me, that's also important to have like the partner like that. And I think it's even harder like this when you have like just one person comparing to like having the whole team and like playing individually, because here you really need to fit good with that one person. In the team you can always, you have like, like I don't know, 7 or 10 people by yourself. uh, but here you really need to fit good with that girl or man on the court. So from that side, I really enjoying it. To have one more person, especially with Alice, we really become really good friends, and I want to compete mostly with her. But definitely, we will also try to play with different players to see how we'll feel. But at this moment we make the project together that we want to try to go as much as possible tournaments this year. It's similar as in tennis, you need to cover everything alone. That's why we see all the paddle players, they have like logos on their shirt. That's a little bit also different than comparing to tennis. And I think paddle will become really big sport when we have different nations comparing to these two that we mentioned, like Spanish and Argentina. We need like to have at least, I don't know, like 6 7 nations that can also compete in the like bigger tournaments. For people it's still not interesting like knowing that always will win the same teams. And when it comes to sponsors, at this moment, yeah, we are trying to find like the partners that will support this. But for me, it's also because they love that I'm doing also influencer part of the thing. I'm not only like a player, let's say that way, because I see myself as a professional player, as influencer as well. And for me, other part that I want to be involved, it's this motivational and like mentoring kind of work. I really love that. And I want to be involved that like in humanitarian charity kind of work as well. So for me, it's really important that partners that I have the same vision. For example, last year I got offers from betting companies that I didn't talk about that so with many people, but I got with, I would say, 3 or 4 betting companies really huge offers, but I rejected all because that's really against all my values and what I believe in. I'm not judging for people that are doing that, but for me, it's just against everything that I believe, and I don't like that. So for me, it's really important that I have the partners that will believe in my vision about generally about this mental health, about the family, about all this, I would say, healthy lifestyle. So that's for me really really important. I cannot just promote something just to promote something. I know that a lot of young people following me, also the other athletes and stuff, and I want really to show and to use really the things that I believe in. So that's for me really the most important part when it comes to like sponsorships and partners. And Alice also have the same vision as me, that for me it's really important. So yeah, right now when it comes to rackets, I play with Tactical Paddle. Maybe you saw, and I really adore their rackets. I think already now 3 months that I'm playing with. So yeah, besides
Shout
that,
out to Jackie Paddle in the meantime. Shout out to Jackie.
yeah, and also besides that, I'm working with my partners are Diadem. That's what you asked me as well, like for the tennis rackets. And with the Diadem rackets, actually, I'm playing now, I think, more than 6 months. And the rackets are amazing. To be honest, I never heard before when I first tried the rackets. But it reminds me a little bit of Babolat, because I was playing my whole career with Babolat rackets. But I just love the racket. I feel I have like power because I'm not really like some huge girl. For me, always was advantage my movement, and I was always loving more kind of men games, changing the rhythm, slices, drop shot, and stuff, than just like playing as hard as possible. So with the other rackets, I really feel that I can do whatever I want on the tennis court. So that's I would say for tennis, and for paddle I play now with Tactical. So that's, but for the others at this moment I don't have any other sponsors, and yeah, we'll see. It will come. I
Yeah,
always I
100%.
always see that in the
100%.
right moment it comes, the right people, so it will come.
Yeah, no, 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 for sure. And look, once you start competing, and that will be an eye opener, the first FIP, I have to say. I don't know what you're expecting, but that will be a tough cookie to actually overcome, I think. But I believe that you can definitely be successful in it.
Yeah, but I'm not like, I talked with Alice a lot. For her, it's because she's also a tennis coach. She was a really good tennis player. She was in top 600 in singles in WAT, and I think in 400 in doubles. And she have her own academy and tennis club in Craiova. She's from Romania, and she's amazing coach. Um, and she wants now with me, as I mentioned, to go professionally for paddle, but for her it's a little bit demanding because she needs to leave her club to go. And for me, I would say my job, it's like online. I can do like for wherever I am, wherever I travel. And I really want to show to the people now the journey from converting from tennis to paddle, and to show really behind the scenes, the struggles, the matches that we're losing. I was really in tennis. I never wanted that. I was really scared. I was like, only when it's good. When I win, nice. Now I don't care what, like, okay, always you have like a little bit, okay, what people will think, to be honest. But now I'm like, I'm caring less, I would say, in that way. I want to show like the whole transition, because I know that for some people that will mean a lot. And some people, if they don't like, you always have the people that don't like something that you do. And I'm really now okay with that. And I want to show like really the whole behind the scenes, like our struggles now, because we are having it a lot, especially with the, like, using the glass and all that stuff. We will have a lot of matches that we will lose, and I'm really okay with that. It's now I see that that's part of the process, but I cannot explain you how much I'm excited to start with these tournaments and with this whole process. And yeah, we are supposed to go, I think, in the 1st of March now in the Netherlands again. We have there like first FIP bronze, and then we are planning also to go to Lithuania. And for me, the goal will be to go like every month, at least one tournament. It's obviously also depends of the budget and the money how we can cover it and everything, but I'm sure it will come, and I know it's achievable what we want. So I'm really ready for everything.
Good, good. I mean, look, as I say, I'm pretty sure it will happen. I just said that when I first, that was last year, I played in an international tournament. I played in the world champs of senior world champs of paddle, and I remember seeing like professional paddle up like in front of me, and I was like, okay, all right. But in the meantime, it was kind of interesting because I didn't feel intimidated when you see Novak hit a bowl, or even Staff or Yanko or whatever. When you really see those guys hit a tennis ball from and it doesn't matter that I started at 4 and I can hit a proper ball, but it doesn't matter because when you see those guys hit it in front of them and how strong they hit, you know how hard it is. And obviously they make it look effortless. And there's the same thing about paddle players as well. Like if you look at Tapia, if you look at Galan, they make it look effortless. And in the meantime, now I realize how much work is behind those reads, those turns, those both when you hit from the back wall or from the side wall or that's the thing, and you're like, okay, oh my god, yeah, okay, that's a lot of work. What I need to put in there, but I do see what you mean because I have plans with paddle and I really want to do a lot with paddle, and I mean, not as much as you because obviously we have a massive age difference. I'm turning 40 this year, so I'm gonna be staying with the seniors. But yeah, last question which I want to ask you, and after that, as I say, I'll let you go. Is how do you see yourself in 5, and how do you see yourself in 10 years? I know it's like an interview question, but I don't know how many job interviews you had, but that's like a general interview question. But no, I'm just actually quite curious on how you see it because I know that what your plan is for the next year, but what do you think you can achieve in paddle, in life? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I love that question actually a lot. And I love to ask that my friends or sometimes people when I meet for the first time. Um, for me, first of all, I'm kind of, I don't like to share all the stuff that it's like my goals in the moment, because I love to share when I achieve that or when I do that. More, it's how to explain that now. I really believe okay to share with some like really close maybe friends or family, but you always have I would say like evil eye It's not that I believe that some people can ruin something, but it's just I love to keep it quiet and patience, and then like when it happened to show it. But definitely for the paddle in last, I really see myself in top. But for me, the first thing it's obviously health, and to go really like slowly and to give time to my body and everything to adapt, and first to see of myself how I will feel. At this moment, I'm like really, I know that I want to go full in that, but you never know like how it will be like in I don't know 2, 3, 4 years. For me, also big part and really important thing is my in my life. It's like having the family, and I think that's the most important part in life, and I want also to have the kids and stuff. If you ask me when I was 20, I would say that I wanted to have kids when I was 24, 25. But yeah, at this age now, I think I will wait a little bit more. But yeah, that's also really important for me, and I can say that I also thinking about those things as well. uh, but I would say definitely to be in top in professional paddle, and being more involved in this charity work, and kind of being a motivator. I really think that I can understand good people without any like judging. For me, that's really important, because we it's easy for everyone to judge when you meet someone first time, but you never know what someone been through. I feel that on my skin. That's why they see now like, okay, girl traveling, playing the sport, everything is perfect and nice, but it wasn't like that. And for me, still I have the days when I don't feel confident in myself, when I doubting everything that I'm doing and stuff. And that now I'm really okay with that. So I think I can really understand people good, and I want to be the help as much as possible. So one of my purposes, I really see that even after, obviously I will not do the professional sport my whole life. I will always want to be involved in the sport. But obviously when I'm like 40, 50 or something like that, I will not playing maybe professionally. So I see my purpose in that kind of thing as well. And as you said, for the age, I wanted to mention that that's different also comparing to tennis. You have like a lot older players playing professional in paddle than in tennis. When you're, especially for the girls, I would say 30 something, most of them are like finishing career, I would say. And in paddle, you have some players that are like 40, then they are like playing in really high end professional level. So yeah, this is like some. I would say I give you now a little bit politician kind of answer. But yeah, I will share the things that are happening in the future. But this is a little bit generally.
Brilliant, brilliant. Bojana, thank you very much for coming. I cannot say how much I enjoyed it. It was lovely to have you. And what I usually say as well, now we are actually moving back to Hungary, so we have to play a mixed doubles against someone. So I'm happy to go to Belgrade if you wanna. You play on the right as well, don't you?
Yeah, actually, with Alice, I'm playing on the right. But for me, at this moment, I'm training for both sides. Like when
Okay.
I'm with Alice and now in Netherlands, I was mostly focusing on the right. And to be honest, I really enjoying on the right. I love now building up the point. Of course, sometimes I love really smashing the balls and hitting strong, but I love now like learning about tactical part of paddle, and I think that's much more important than like having an in tennis like good technique and stuff like that and power. So I like it, but I also want like to, especially now in the beginning, I would say, of my paddle career, I want to be like full player and to know to play on both sides. You never know with who will you play. So yeah, but at this moment, yeah, I'm training more for the right side.
Okay, so that's good because I'm unfortunately I'm absolutely horrific on the right, but I'm actually quite decent on the left. So we will get someone on. Maybe we'll get Novak on the court, and we'll just teach him a lesson, won't we?
Yeah, definitely. He's really actually. I told him now when we was practicing to try with him to play, and he's definitely he love paddle. He will be down for that to try to play some match. And
Brilliant. Maybe
I would
not with
love to
me.
play with you. You have like invitation to come. We are also organizing a lot of tournaments now in Belgrade. So actually now in March it will be one more like international tournament. It's coming a lot of players. Last year it was also like a lot of from Spain, Italy, Croatia. In Croatia they have like really good players,
Yeah.
and you probably know. So we're organizing here a lot of tournaments. So you're always more than welcome to come.
Brilliant. And you're always more than welcome to come on the show as well. So we have to check back in like half a year or a year or how your journey is going. And I swear to my listeners as well, or our listeners, that like obviously because a lot of people will join in from your side, that you know we haven't touched on that much on paddle, but we did. But anyway, if you're coming back, that would be amazing. Thank you very much.
I will definitely. I will. I enjoy really so much.
Thank you. Take care.
You. See you. Ciao, ciao.